Oh boy, okay, so this is a minor prologue that is not really scripted at all, but I just want to say, please, if you like this video, please leave a like and or subscribe. My New Year's resolution is to hopefully get at least one of my channels monetized, and at least for the main channel, I should try and strive to do that by making high quality videos a lot more often. So yeah, please also leave a comment if I left something behind by accident. While I did take a very long time researching this sort of topic, I know there's a lot of things that I usually gloss over or feel wasn't as important to mention. But yeah, the best way to learn something on the internet is to say the wrong thing, apparently. So he's hoping that wasn't really the case, but who knows, something might have slipped through the cracks. But yeah, please enjoy. In the world of Monster Hunter, you are never truly alone. While out in the many hunting grounds or even at the village, you see a mixture of friendly and hostile faces. In the mix of regular humans and the wiser variants, we have a group categorized under the Felynes class. You probably know them better as the bipedal talking cats that have been a proven reliable companion, also known as a Palico. This special episode of Weapons Through the Generations is going to be overviewing our faithful helpers that have fought alongside us in the mainline series, starting from Monster Hunter 1 up until the newest Sunbreak expansion. First generation Felynes include the Feline and the Maelings. Both of these guys can be found out in the wild and even have little secret villages. Felines are usually docile, but ones out in the wild can attack if provoked. They will throw boomerangs and sometimes even small barrel bombs. Maelings, on the other hand, are much more curious felines that are notorious kleptomaniacs. These guys will attempt to rush at the hunter in an attempt to steal an item. They usually go for pretty valuable items, and can even steal stuff like combo books and power charms. These Felynes are quite smart and can verbally communicate with people. While their speech is filled to the brim with cat-based puns, they have managed to find many job opportunities around any given village. The most notable role felines have in Monster Hunter 1 is at the kitchen, as both a waiter and cook. Using the guest house, the hunter can order food and create a meal using the menu that the feline brings them. Upon choosing a suitable meal, the Palico leaves momentarily and returns with the hunter's food. They even place the meal quite safely onto the hunter's table. Once the hunter gets the higher class king room, there's even a feline that will give advice regarding which food combinations to choose. The Poogie is a very special creature that is said to bring good fortune and fame to those who keep it happy. This little guy appears in the hunter's room, and the hunter can interact with them. During this interaction, a little mini-game plays out, where the player needs to time out an X input, as an exclamation mark appears above their head. Doing this properly will make them happy, and this apparently gives the player good luck. Making them upset by mistiming it too late will have them run off until the hunt is over. You get to retry the minigame if you do mistime it too early though. Starting in Monster Hunter 2 Dose, the Poogie realized its talent for cosplaying and now can don different outfits. As the player continues their adventure, they will naturally unlock new costumes for the House Poogie. Shakalaka are goblin/imp-like creatures that wear masks. These Felynes live in small villages and live under the leadership of the King Shakalaka. They look pretty unassuming, but they are pretty strong for their size. They can combo hunters in quick succession and inflict poison, and even trick hunters by leaving fake shinies that explode. Introduced in Monster Hunter 2 Dose alongside their loyal subjects, the King Shakalaka is a slightly larger Shakalaka that wears a barbecue split on their head and uses a thigh bone as a club. The King Shakalaka was not categorized as a large monster like the drones until Freedom Unite. This group of Felynes are not to be underestimated, and even experienced hunters are fearful of them. Hunters from Monster Hunter 2 Dose reportedly have seen a feline with an afro digging through their item box on some occasions. Alongside a regular stylist feline, these two are specialists at fashion and can change the hunter's hairstyle. The stylist gives a couple of options to choose from, while the afro-donning funky feline just goes with their current flow. After 2 Dose, the funky feline does not make an appearance until 4 Ultimate and Gen/Gen U. The town of Dondorma is a bustling town filled with the history of its close scrapes with various dangerous elder dragons. Yet this is also a town the guild is trying to rebuild back to its former glory. Its first debut was in 2 doses online mode, and there the hunter can take on much more difficult quests. On the right side of the town is the assembly. At the assembly, the hunter can also take on some tougher arena quests, but there's also a feline there called the Feline Flunky, who takes music requests for the famed Diva to Sing. Trenya is a treasure hunter and a disciple of one of the founders of Poke Village, Treshy. He is a shy feline that is easily surprised. Using his boat to venture off to distant regions, he can help the hunter, with enough of a sponsorship, gather items or even attack large monsters. There is apparently a fan club dedicated to celebrating Trenya's accomplishments. Before sending Trenya off, the player needs to note whether or not he is lying down rather than standing up, as this will signify that there will be less items from a haul. There is also a possibility of Trenya's boat sinking when he sets off, also resulting in less items. Both of these animations are random events. Trenya appears in Freedom 2, Freedom Unite, and Gen/Gen-U. Bokote is secretly a guild knight that hangs out at Poke Village. She is known for giving the hunter difficult quests while there. She is a very mysterious individual who is seemingly calm and polite. Perhaps to some, because of her mysterious nature, people feel there is something off with her. Being a part of the high-ranking guild knights, her job is to find extremely talented hunters to add to the guild knights' highest ranks of honor. She appears in Freedom 2, Freedom Unite, and Gen/Gen-U. Poke Village has an extensive plot of land off to the right of the village that gets unlocked as the player makes progress in the main story. Here the hunter can farm, mine, and do some mini-games. There are also some farmhand felines that could also help the hunter. They explain how each aspect of the farm works and can plant a seed and later fertilize the soil upon the hunter's request. The player can upgrade the farm using the Poke Points they obtained on their adventures. You can also get Poke Points via special drops, treasure hunting, and the training school. These upgrades include a honey box, mushroom logs, extra mining points, a fishing pier, and extra farm plots. Extra upgrades to these will require more progress to be done, with some farm aspects being able to be maxed out once the player reaches G rank and completing certain quests. Once the hunter has felled the mighty Tigrex, a cave opens up using the Tigrexic Screamer, and now the hunter can use up to 2 outer dragon bones to have a feline pick at the massive greatsword found in the cave for some special materials. There are a variety of different upgrades for the farm that the hunter can unlock as they go through their adventures. One of them is the ability to mine using barrel bombs. Upon interacting with the Palico in front of the mining spots, they will inquire the hunter for a bomb. Any bomb will do, but the higher quality of the bomb, the more rewards will be given. Towards the back of the farm is a lone tree that can be whacked with a giant hammer. Talking to the Palico next to the tree will ask the hunter if they want to borrow the hammer for 300 zenny. There are 3 tiers total, and each tier will provide the chance to drop low, high, or G rank insects. Selecting a hammer will then begin the minigame where the player would need to carefully time the X button input to when the hunter appears to be fully charged. The better the timing, the more bugs will drop. You can tell if you timed it right if you get a victorious sound effect with the hunter looking quite pleased with themselves. An extension to the fishing pier would add an extra minigame where the hunter can provide a net to the Palicos sitting near the casting machine. During this minigame, the player has to essentially predict where the school of fish is going to circle around to catch the most fish with a delayed launch of the net. All of these minigames can only be done once in a cycle, so in order to have another chance at these, the player will need to complete a quest and try again. The bravest and most toughest of felines and meleings are usually recruited by hunters to become trusty party members. In Freedom/Freedom Night, there is a granny that carries a large backpack filled to the brim with palicos ready for adoption. Palicos adopted here can also be opted to work at the kitchen and cook for the hunter. These palicos level up as they hunt alongside hunters or when being sent to train. Their weapons will change when going up to certain values, and these weapons even have elemental and status values. The cloth strap will change color depending on the current status/element. At the start of the game, palicos will start at level 1, with their maximum being level 20. As they gain levels, their attack, defense, and health values will increase, starting with 10 attack and defense with 100 HP up to 100 attack, 160 defense, and 130 HP. Every palico is pretty unique, having a different character, attack preference, healing rate, and combat style. Looking at the palico's attack preference is important because it will dictate if they will attack with their weapons or if they will be a loose cannon and just toss bombs everywhere. Palicos value loyalty, and when it's low they tend to idle around or even fall asleep during hunts. As the player spends more time with their palico on the hunt, their loyalty will naturally grow. Higher loyalty gives a higher chance for palicos to use their health flute, set traps, help you when you're stunned, or cover their ears during a monster roar. Loyalty is counted as points and are shown as hearts on a given palico's description. This given value increases after every hunt, as it takes the value of the guild points received after a hunt and increases the loyalty level by 10% of that value. Feline skills are something that a palico can learn, and depending on the complexity of the skill, can take several hunts before they can fully learn that skill. These skills are unlocked when fulfilling special requirements with the palico, like killing a monster. These skills then take points for the palico to undergo the training. Basic skills are cheap and take a single quest to learn, while advanced skills cost more than 100 points and can take 3 quests to learn. The palico gains skill points after each hunt, and the amount is determined by taking 1% from their total amount of guild points. If you unlock a skill but then later want to change it, you get half the points refunded. This only applies to skills learned and not skills that are still in progress of being learned. Upon selecting a skill, it will take a couple of quests for them to actually learn it. There are some quests that could be deemed too dangerous for a Palico to accompany the hunter, in which case it's just assumed they stay at the hunter's house awaiting their return. Hunters also cannot bring along their companion when playing multiplayer. For hunters with extra Palicos they want to grow while they're out hunting, or if they want their current Palico to get even stronger, they can be put on training routines that will increase certain stats. Depending on the Palico, they will either have 2 melee attacks or will toss bombs. If they are a melee Palico, they will either do a spinning slash as they rush the monster on all fours, or they will just do a jumping slash. On some rotations, the granny will have Palicos that will display chef skills. When choosing a Palico from the granny, you will notice that they will have a kitchen level, their main ingredient, plus the ranking on that ingredient. The more stars, the higher the chance to activate their skills, info level, and alongside that, their food specialty skills. The maximum kitchen level is 9 for a given chef, and the info level affects the quality of items given. There could be a maximum of 5 feline chefs, but that's only allowed further into the hunter's career. At the start of the game, the hunter can only have 1 active chef. The 2 main attributes that affect the ingredients list is the lead chef's level and how many active chefs are currently available. If the main chef level is maxed, then all the ingredients should be showing up when the hunter is selecting a meal. Before the main chef reaches level 9, all the ingredients will essentially be in a random rotation. When choosing a meal, keep in mind the food specialty of a particular feline, as that would increase the chances of potentially getting a favorable skill. You can also visually see if your chances are higher during the cooking animation. Palicos will get fired up, which is shown by their red hot glow as they prepare the meal. The actual food combos themselves do not rely on a specific food, but rather the food group. So for example, if you have only 1 chef active and you want health plus 20, all you need is any fruit combined with any vegetable. Doing this combo will always result in a plus 20 health boost and maybe a bonus skill if one of the chefs has that ingredient as their bonus. In Freedom Unite, you can save and quit out of the game in order to store a food skill. This is pretty useful in case you want a particular skill when attempting a quest. However, it only works in this game. For any reason the hunter will want to remove a chef, the hunter can do that by using the chef board on the left side of the kitchen. Here, a chef can either be turned into a Palico, or they can be dismissed. In case the player accidentally chooses to dismiss a beloved feline, they will have a second chance in order to really confirm this choice, or not. The maximum number of Palicos that can be hired under the hunter, active or not, is 18. That includes the 5 chefs, 3 active Palicos, and 10 Palicos that are in the reserves. Palicos can also be transferred out using the right-hand board. Having 10 points in Comrade Guidance will boost the feline experience after a quest. 15 points will upgrade the skill and will also boost the skill points after quests. Having this skill also boosts the feline power and their performance in quests. MonHun and I removed the Palico comrade but instead has the lovable Cha-Cha as a comrade during the game. Cha-Cha is a lost Shakalaka child who has gone off adventuring but had to get saved by the hunter from a pack of hungry Jaggy and Jagia. While he is not a Palico, he is as brave as strong as one, and because he is a Shakalaka warrior, can swap masks that have different skills and special abilities. Looking at Cha-Cha's status, the player can look at their skills and stat values. Shakalaka have the particular ability to change their skills depending on the mask they wear. As the hunter continues their journey, they will come across new masks or recipes for masks that Cha-Cha requests from Junior. You can give your friendly Shakalaka any meat item by going through your item menu and selecting Give. Depending on the meat, this will have a different effect on Cha-Cha. Dances are a unique thing to the Shakalacas, and depending on how these are combined, can get different effects. By default, Cha-Cha knows the Rara dance and the Ooga Boo dance. The other two dances, Waka Waka and Boom Boom, are obtained by trading a rare 2/3 star commodity from the Argosy captain. Even if Cha-Cha is not a Palico, he shares a lot of the skill set that the Palicos had back in Freebie Night. Here are some new skills that were introduced in the 3rd generation. Just because our comrade is not a Palico does not mean there are not any other Lineans helping in Moga Village. Off to the bottom right of the village, there is Moga Farm. As we go through the game's story, the farm will slowly recover the lost felines that ran away because of the earthquakes caused by Ceatus. The farm will eventually max out at 3 felines, and these 3 can be renamed by going through the pre-made list of names. This farm works in a similar way as it did in Freebie Night. You can talk to one of the felines and choosing something to plant alongside a fertilizer. As the hunter continues with the story, they will unlock spots for farming mushrooms, insects, and honey. There's even a secret area behind the waterfall's cave that hosts a mysterious object. Perhaps Cha-Cha can use this as a mask? The farm also has a Poogie that walks around. Chamberlain is the hunter's trusty housekeeper that prides herself on keeping the hunter's room clean and orderly. Talking to her allows the hunter to arrange or store furnishing. These nice decorations are obtained by trading with the Argosy captain. She also handles the rewards obtained from the arena and can check arena results from system memory or from the Wiimote. Once the hunter has completed the 2-star quest, No Love for Ludrop, Moga Village is visited by the Argosy captain. With the captain, a feline appears in the village. They are a wandering chef, and they become a core part of the canteen at the village. They have their kitchen set up next to the Moga Sweetheart, and provides the hunter with high-quality meals. Progressing the game's story will have the chef request certain materials to upgrade the food items for better effects. There are felines that work as guides while at the city of Lochlac. Chamberlain even follows you there and takes care of the many rooms you may stay at while at Lochlac. The interior diviner is a sculpture maker that specializes in making special furnishings for the hunter's room. The Feline Granny is where the hunter can recruit potential Palicos. Like in Freedom Unite, they can hire Palicos from a list or download special ones from events. However, now the hunter can request certain traits that will then show up in a list that refreshes after every hunt. Palicos will have different attack types, melee, bomb, and boomerangs, or a mixture of the two, attack targets, and personality types just like in Freedom Unite. Portable 3rd changed the farm that was introduced in Poke Village to be a bit more streamlined. With the reintroduction of Palico companions, the hunter can now choose their farm hands. While not mandatory, the hunter can assign up to 4 Palicos to help collect bugs, fish, ore, and items. There are mini games that occur when doing certain activities, and these have 3 levels of success: bad, good, or great. Palicos can also help with the barbecue split. They will fan the meat, which gives the player extra time to press the button. This method of cooking 10 steaks or fish at once also provides quality ash, which works as good fertilizer. High Fondness will also have a Palico duel and exclamation mark when the food is ready. Up to 4 Palicos and 3 bait types can be chosen when going fishing. The hunter tosses the bait into the water, while the Palicos wait with a basket. It is possible to catch many different types of fish in this minigame. The bug seesaw activity has the Palico stand on one side of the seesaw and the hunters waiting on a small cliff. This then requires a player to time out a circle press as the hunter glows. The better the timing, the higher the Palicos will be launched and the more bugs they will catch. There are certain different types of bugs that are exclusive to this minigame. Sending the Palicos off to the mines will yield different results depending on the pickaxe you give them before they head off. The number of ores to bring back also depends on the level of the Palicos sent out and the result of the expedition. Giving a Palico a pickaxe mushroom will have a 50-50 chance of either resulting in a bad or great outcome. The Garwa-driven cart is essentially a replacement for Freedom Unite's Trenya. The player gets to choose 4 Palicos that are sent off on a particular mission. There are 4 different levels that can be chosen from, just like regular hunting missions. Just like with Trenya, there are randomized events that may happen when the Palicos are sent off on their adventure. The first type is totally normal. The Garwa and the Palicos venture off slowly into the distance. The second has the exclamation mark appear on top of the Garwa's head, having it rush off out of sight, with the Palicos holding on for dear life. The third animation that can happen also has an exclamation mark appear just above the Garwa's head. But this time the Palicos aren't so fortunate and are thrown off the cart into the nearby water. The traveling speed is proportional to the rewards given from the expedition. The faster the Garwa runs off, the better chances at higher rarity rewards. If the Palicos are seen falling off the cart, the rarity of goods will be lowered. Seeing them rush off successfully will increase the rarity of goods instead. The crew will return once the hunter finishes a hunt. Going to the hunter school or on a gathering quest do not count, unless it's the Kelby Horn quest. Palicos at Yukumo Village can be brought on quests as pairs. When playing online, the hunter brings along only the first Palico if there are only 2 hunters. More than 2 hunters will have Palicos stay behind. The top left now shows the Palicos health bar, and now they share some additions that Cha-Cha had introduced in Try, like Rage, Panic Mode, and the ability to toss boomerangs. Palicos now have 6 skill slots that can be filled with abilities that are unlocked during the hunter's adventures, or as the Palicos level up. Back at the Yukumo farm, there are 6 standard training methods and 5 special ones that can be purchased with Yukumo points. The random special ability that can be learned from the waterfall meditation can be the Super Guard, dramatically increases guard percentage, Battlefield Awakening, which boosts attack, Critical Combo, boosts affinity, and Acquired Acquisition, boosts thievery percentage. At Yukumo Village, there is an old Felynes blacksmith that specializes in making equipment for Palicos. You can make a weapon, helmet, or body armor for Palicos using scraps. These scraps can be obtained by breaking down monster parts or even just creating hunter armor and weapons. These weapons will now note their sharpness level and affinity alongside the attack and rarity of the weapon. There will also be an icon to note if the weapon will do cutting or impact damage. Some weapons might also have an element or status ailment with some extra defense. There is a money glitch that can be exploited using the scraps. By going to the Feline Smithy and choosing Get Scraps and then Give Item from Pouch, you can quickly select an item, get the scraps for it, and look at your pouch to discover that the item you apparently gave is still there. Mid to late game monster scraps are actually quite valuable, and if any obtained can help a hunter in need. But now there is just the moral conundrum of swindling an outer feline. In the ending cutscene for Portable Third, Cha-Cha and the Wandering Chef show up. Cha-Cha shows off his ability to swap masks faster than a feline can blink. And the Wandering Chef is happily making food for the festival. Alongside them is a line of Poogies who are all wearing their costumes, and many different felines. We also see that the funky feline does indeed wear a wig. And who else is enjoying the hot springs but the Elder and Felcote from Freedom Unite? At the end of the cutscene, we see Treshy and Trenya handling a fireworks display where Trenya falls into the firework cannon. The Transporter is a Malinx that is living at Yukumo Village. They carry around a barrel that they use as a method of transportation. Unlike the Malinx, the Transporter does not like to steal and enjoys his job of transporting a vast variety of items from and to anyone, from the common villager to a hunter or even a member of the guild. He is easily recognizable by his eye patch, blue cape with a bell and a big hat inspired by a Lanyan's head. He reappears in For You, Gen/Genyu. While there are no feline kitchens in Portable 3rd, there is a hot spring in the guild hall. This is where hunters can soak their bodies before the hunt for a boost in health and stamina. There at the hot springs are 2 felines, the spring keeper and the drink seller. I've seen them called drinksnya, but I'm not sure if that's right. The spring keeper will occasionally give the hunter new quests to improve the quality of the hot springs for extra benefits or new drinks that the drink seller will include in their selection. The drink seller essentially provides what would have been meal bonuses in Try. Going by release order has us back in Moga Village. This time we're in a G-Rank expansion that was released on the 3DS and the Wii U. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate introduced 2 notable lineages. Neko means cat is a trader that follows his master, the Argosy captain. His past is unknown, but at one point he was saved from drowning by the Argosy captain and since then has followed him around. Wanting to repay his debt to the captain, he became a part of the crew and is the captain's apprentice. He has learned how to steer a ship, trade with other merchants, and has even done the rare independent transaction without the captain's involvement. In Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, talking to Neko, means cat, can bring the hunter to Port Tanzia, this game's replacement to Lock Lack City. While at Port Tanzia, the hunter can still use the farm and trade by talking with Neko, means cat. Extra side note is that there's a Palicos at the port's canteen that occasionally gives the hunter rewards. Neko has brown hair, a yellow vest, and indigo pants. He's known to carry around a small sword that appears to be inspired by Toy Story's design and a pendant around his neck. Perhaps it's a good luck charm. He reappears in For You and Gen/Gen U. The Courier is a Palicos that deals with Street Pass functionality and anything else that deals with online/multiplayer functionality. They reappear frequently from here on out in the portable games like For You, Gen/Gen U, and Sunbreak. As the hunter progresses to the 5-star Urgent, they will come across a second Shakalaka child in need. However, instead of a pack of Jaggy, our new friend is in trouble of getting squashed by a Duramboros. Completing this quest will reveal that this child is Kayamba. He is from the same tribe as Cha-Cha, and these two have been on a hunt for the legendary mask. Getting this mask is a sort of rite of passage according to the tribe's traditions. At first, these two Shakalaka warriors do not get along, often bickering and butting heads, but as they continue to hunt alongside our hunter, they end up being very close friends. Since Portable 3rd introduced having 2 companions, 3 Ultimate allows having both Cha-Cha and Kayamba accompany the hunter. Alongside a new comrade, 3 Ultimate also introduced some new masks for these 2 warriors. Their level cap also got moved up to 50, and Mask Mastery is 5. Kayamba also brought along a new dance, the Woohoo dance. This adds an extra dance combo to the table. The fondness between the two shakalaka is shown as the Chum Chum level. The maximum level is 5, and the higher the amount, the more likely the two are to dance together while hunting. The hunter even gets rewarded each time the Chum Chum level goes up with a ticket from the Palico at the Port Tanzia Canteen. Team player gives a 10% extra attack and defense and increases their stamina recovery by 50% for Cha-Cha and Kayamba. Team leader allows the player to signal Chakalaka to instantly revive them. This only works about every 10 minutes or so. Feline Trainer boosts the amount of experience Cha-Cha and Kayamba gain at the end of the hunt. It also decreases the chances of the two fighting each other if their Chum Chum level is low. There are some Landian cameos of previous generations that can be found throughout the hunter's journey in 4 and 4 Ultimate. There are even extra stories that focus on some being the main quest giver. The Street Cook is a workaholic feline that has mastered the art of cooking. A long time ago, they were just a general cook for Val Harbor, until one day they were caught in a scuffle with a Jaggy Pack. They were thankfully saved by an unnamed hunter, and were then invited by the Carnivore to join their jolly group. They wear a Chinese-style outfit with a pen on their back. The Street Cook appears to get along quite well with the caravan, and are even seen gambling with the Wycoon during their downtime in a cutscene. The first Palico the hunter gets in 4 and 4 Ultimate is known as the Ace Palico. They are a pretty famous feline that goes on an extensive journey with the hunter and the caravan. Like in Portable 3rd, there is a main and sub Palico slot. The player can choose which Palico is selected to be the substitute, but there can be only 5 first stringers at one time. For whatever reason you want to dismiss any Palico, note that the Ace Palico cannot be dismissed. Finding sub Palicos is rather easy, it just requires a hunter to go out physically and scout them out in the wild. Recruitment is simply done by visiting any feline village and talking to one of the residents. A menu will pop up, showing their stats and an option to hire them or not. Recruitment only happens if the hunter finishes a quest. Abandoning a quest will abandon any recruits. A Palico's enthusiasm can influence their performance during a quest and at a village facility. High enthusiasm will grant bonuses in either scenario. If a Palico's enthusiasm is low, letting them rest or feeding them will recover it. The forte of a Palico is their speciality. There are 10 different types, including the forte of the Ace Palico. The Ace will have the leadership forte, which has their own forte change depending on the first stringer's fortes and how many. Their particular ability is the grudge attack. Depending on the combinations of Palicos, they will do special moves that will vary in effectiveness depending on their level and current enthusiasm. There are different variations of these team attacks, but those will generally have smaller differences like element, the speed in which the move is prepared, and the differences in the cooldown. The Rappa Meow is a tank driven by the 2 Palicos. Called a Meowser tank, they will pelt the target with the fireballs. The higher the Palicos are, the more damage this tank can deal. The pair takes out a massive horn and starts twirling around, playing a musical tune that boosts the hunter's maximum health and stamina. When done at a high enough level, this can act as an ancient potion. The flying bomb will launch a Palico onto the target and will have them attack while they're mounted. The higher the Palico's level, the longer they will persist on the target. Palicos now have their own special skills. These are not only for hunts, as they can have skills that will impact the Monster Hunter and casting machine minigames. Chico Sands is one of the villages the hunter encounters while on their adventures with the caravan. The residents here live near the primal forest and are made up of Felynes and an old barbarian known as the Cat Granny. The Cat Granny is regarded as the mayor of this small community. The Felynes are good scavengers, taking advantage of the debris that comes ashore. There is a nearby isle to Chico Sands known as Sunbreak Isle. This is a meeting place where felines gather to take on quests to repel local monsters. There's a female feline who runs the place, known as the manager. She takes care of the business here and even takes care of the hunters' Palicos. On Sunbreak Isle, there are facilities here that mirror some features that the hunter already has, like the training facility. But there are even some unique minigames here akin to Portable Third's minigames at the farm. Palicos that are training or resting can be seen here. After progressing far enough in the campaign, the hunter will get access to the casting machine. The hunter can use their hard-earned caravan points to hire up to 5 Palicos to catch nearby schools of fish. After hiring a crew of Palicos, the hunter can move their circle pad to try to catch a school of fish. If you see a couple exclamation marks, that means their special skills are activated. You only get a single chance to toss the net, but the more schools that are caught in the net, the higher the amount of rewards the hunter will get. It is also possible for a Plesioth, or even a green Plesioth, to show up. They may be just a bit more difficult to catch, but this will provide a means of getting their monster parts. You do get a free net per quest rotation. These special quests involve the hunter sending off a team of 5 non-active Palicos to go out and hunt monsters for scraps. Like in Portable Third, these scraps are used for creating new Palico gear. As the player makes more progress in the game, they can get up to 3 quests for each team to tackle. Each quest consists of 3 stages. Each one has materials to gather and a potential monster to fight. The first stage is always easy, with the third stage having progressively stronger monsters to fight. Battles are fought in a rock paper scissors style, but it only uses 3 primary colors: red, blue, and yellow. Red beats blue, blue beats yellow, and yellow beats red. There's also a white and a green reserved for support moves. Every Palico has a different color that is noted while choosing Palicos for the minigame. Before even going on the quest, the player can see what colors may show up, allowing them to assemble the perfect team to do the job. Once the hunter completes a hunt, a new stage is unlocked for the player. Entering the Everwood passes time quickly, and monsters that are hunted as the hunter continues adventures can show up on the list. While the board is also in the hunter's room, there is an extra Palico board at Sunbreak Isle. Using the board, you can deploy a Palico or have it train. You can see them training at the hunter's house or at the isle. Deploying a Palico will have them accompany you on a quest. If you set your main Palico to train, you can now bring the sub along with you. Training a Palico or finishing a quest with them will lower their enthusiasm, so having them rest once in a while will restore it. Palicos will refuse to train if their enthusiasm is too low. 10 points in Palico Hero gives the hunter the commander skill, which combines the effects of both Feline Rally and Cheer into a single armor skill. Since Generations is a celebration game, there will be some familiar faces seen as the player adventures alongside the research team. But while the hunter is at Berna Village, the Perp Priestess will act as a canteen. During the hunter's many adventures, they'll come across some new ingredients. Talking to the Perp Priestess is the only way to get new combinations using these new food items. Not much is known about this particular feline, besides her masterful ability to whip together a hearty meal for our hunter. A Prowler is a special title that Palicos get when they are a full-fledged hunter. This essentially has the Prowler be its own special class that is fully playable. Prowlers have infinite stamina, pickaxes, bug nets, trank bombs. They gather quickly, they don't require hot or cold drinks, they have 2 lives before they faint, and can run around pretty quickly. Prowlers are extremely customizable, so you essentially have a create your own character class that can have a good variety of moves and skills. Since they are still Palicos, they will get stronger as they level up, and the requirement of scraps for equipment has making new gear pretty easy. I suppose their only main drawback is their inability to use regular hunter items like potions, and require restoration skills to restore HP. The draw attack is a forward swipe with the weapon. This can also be done by moving and pressing X. The idle attack instead does a weaker variant of the draw attack. The main melee combo for the Prowler is done by pressing X 5 times. The follow-up attack to the idle or the draw attack does a return slash, then a downward rising slash, a rising slash, and then into a spinning finisher. Holding the analog stick forward during the spinning finisher will move the Prowler a bit forward. Tapping the A button will toss the boomerang forward. Tapping it again will have it follow up with a second toss. Pressing X after tossing a boomerang will do a forward lunge. This also goes into the main X combo afterwards. Tapping A while idle or after the first X attack will have a small delay with the toss, but tapping A after the second X input will toss the boomerang instantly. Pressing and holding A will charge up a boomerang. During the charge, you can change the Prowler's direction using the circle pad. You can even turn the complete opposite direction during the charge. This makes lining up the lunge attack much easier. The Prowler can even charge a boomerang after hopping or the lunge with good timing. Boomerangs will do either cutting or impact damage depending on the Prowler's weapon. Pressing A after the second boomerang has the Prowler do a combination melee and boomerang attack as they are sent forward. This can also be done by pressing A after the downward slash and the lunge. Pressing X after hopping off a ledge will do a powerful mounting strike. This is pretty good for filling up that Prowler gauge quickly, and since Prowlers have infinite stamina, successfully toppling a monster is actually pretty easy. Holding R will have the Prowler hold their weapon out in a defensive stance. Pressing R and then X will go into the rising downward slash. This is pretty good for hitting monsters that are above ground level, and from there, the Prowler can continue into the rest of their main melee combo. Pressing B will have the Prowler hop in the circle pad's direction. This can be chained up to 3 times, with the third hop having an awkward sliding recovery animation at the very end. This hop does have iframes, but the timing is much tighter than the Hunter's iframes. If the Prowler has their weapon out and hops, they can continue moving at a decent running speed, while fast, running with the weapon sheathed is marginally faster. The Prowler's sheathing speed is quite quick and makes chasing down monsters or fleeing from a fight pretty easy. With the weapon away, holding R and pressing B will have the Prowler burrow into the ground. It's a bit slow, but while the Palicos is on the ground, they are impervious to damage. The only thing that will have them hop out of the ground is a monster roar or the player pressing B again. When the Prowler is hit enough times during a fight, they will jump up with an anger icon floating next to their heads. This animation gives the Prowler full iframes but leaves them in place for a while. A Prowler in Rage mode will get plus 30% affinity, flinch free, faster gauge buildup, and the ability to run just a bit faster. Pressing X plus A will have them begin a flurry of slashes forward as the player keeps pressing X. During the animation, the Prowler can be repositioned, and pressing X plus A once more will do a powerful finisher. While out on the hunt, there is a special gauge that is in the lower right corner of the screen. This is the support gauge and takes the place of where the hunter's item gauge would have been. Holding L and then pressing A or Y will cycle through the support skills that are currently equipped. If the support skill has a cost, it will also show up on the bar. To gain support gauge, the Prowler would need to attack a small or large monster. Depending on the class, they may also get a boost doing this. For example, the Fighter Prowler gets more support gauge by doing melee attacks, while the Healer Cat gets more support gauge by not being in the same area as a large monster. Activating a skill is done by pressing Y with the weapon sheathed, or R plus Y with a weapon out. In Generations, there are 7 different Palico types. Each one can have a different support and passive skill. The Palico's typing also affects how their stats will scale. A baseline Palico will have 100 attack and 145 defense at level 50. Prowlers and Palicos will have their own special support moves. In order to unlock these moves, you must bring a Palico with the move on the required quest and complete it. Once learned, the moves can be used as a Prowler and can be taught to other Palicos. Most support skills can be activated after a majority of the Prowler's moveset, like the forward lunge. Carrying large items like eggs or powder stones will slowly increase the Prowler's gauge. And while Prowlers cannot use hunter items, they can still carry them. Power and armor charms / talons still affect the Prowler stats, and carrying extra items that can be given to other hunters can make the Prowler a very compact pack mule. For Prowlers focused on ranged combat, eating for Feline Hurler will boost damage done by boomerangs by 10%.
The Palicos ranch is located directly to the right of Berna's village entrance. Here, the player can receive tickets and or books from the ranch paw. Neko means cat is also here, and they are the main trader of the game. You can order basic items like honey and the like using resource points and a Palico. As you progress in the game, the more resources will be available and more carts will be added, with a max of 3. Using resource points, you can also just trade for a rare assortment of rotating items, resources, decorations, and titles for the Hunter's Guild card, and once unlocked, special permits for hunting deviants. Towards the back of the ranch is the Artesian, who is in charge of the Meowster Hunter minigame. They are a one-eyed Palico that wears quite the charming blue cape and hat. They also quite enjoy throwing off their double daggers. When setting up the Monster Hunters, the player has to choose a locale and up to 4 Palicos to shoot out of a cannon. Do note the items and monsters that can be seen in each locale before choosing a location. The actual minigame requires the player to time their input for the perfect amount of strength and the correct angle in order for a Palico to attempt to land in a desired spot. The Palicos do bounce off the walls in the minigame, so use that to your advantage if you can. As the hunter progresses through the game, the locales can be changed to high or even G rank with higher tiers rewards and scraps. Towards the left of the Monster Hunters is Catalina, also known as the Meowstress, usually accompanied or being held up by a fully grown Mufa. The Meowstress is where the player can hire, scout, rename, or even dismiss Palicos. Besides the fact she acts quite childish and is a barbarian, Catalina is largely a mysterious character. She is close friends with the massive Chef Palico, the Gourmet Chef, that can be seen stirring the fondue in the low/high rank guild, and they are also just as mysterious. In Gen U, it is revealed that Catalina has a younger sister named Milsey, also known as the Meowstress. You can trade horn coins to her for very rare materials and even transmog items in G rank. She usually hangs out in the Sorotorium. All the way to the left of the ranch is the Palico Dojo. Here the hunter can take a single quest time in order for a Palico, up to 3, to be taught a new move or skill from a teacher Palico. They can also take on a quest time to forget any learned move or skill. There are also special training courses where the Palicos can go under intense training for experience. The experience gained can be enhanced using books obtained from the ranch paw after a new Palico spends 10 completed quests with the active Prowler or Hunter. The higher the level of the Palico, the higher tier book will be awarded. This is also the key towards the disposable cat experience grinding method. Palicos can also undergo an intense cat nap in order to recover enthusiasm. Low enthusiasm will result in lower trade amounts, less XP gain, lower quest performance, etc. etc. Or they can meditate in order to change their target priorities. Mufas are herbivores introduced in Monster Hunter Generations. They are docile alpaca-like animals that have long shaggy wool. Males are distinguished by their long horns, and domesticated Mufas usually have lighter colored wool. A baby Mufi hangs out at Burna Village and can become the hunter's pet. She essentially acts as a fluffy Poogie and can even play dress up like one. Approaching Mufi and pressing A will initiate the normal Poogie minigame. Successfully timing this minigame will get Mufi to like you enough to appear in your house alongside the housekeeper. The lunge attack now does a quick melting strike and has super armor. When charging up a boomerang, you can see the direction the Prowler is currently facing, and holding R will bring up an aiming reticle. Using the signature moves for each Prowler class will put them and any party members in the same area into SP mode, like Protection's Taunt or Healer's True Health Forward skills. The Palico Dojo now has the option to change a Palico support move or skill. Using a Feline Codex, the player essentially can choose a desired skill or move from a pre-selected pool of options. This can be quite handy when molding the perfect Prowler or support Palico. Guarding/protection Prowlers now have an adept guard. Successfully guarding an attack would allow a spinning slash counter with X or a melee boomerang combo with A. Bomb Prowlers have an adept evade that will have them roll around, and they will drop a single small barrel bomb during the roll. You can end the roll at any time by pressing X or by hopping. Collect Prowlers get a third boomerang. Healer Prowlers get an extra bit of healing done when using health horns, and they also have a third boomerang. Assist Prowlers also have a third boomerang, but their support gauges fill up much slower than Collect and Healer Prowlers. They do still have a higher than average defense, and the ability to place down traps can be immensely useful. The Fighter Prowler is still focused as a melee attacker. When furious, both the Fighter and Charisma Prowlers get an aerial leap. Beast Prowlers get a unique move called Release the Beast. This skill needs 2 points in the support gauge, and when activated, has the Prowler go into a special feral form. This is a melee-focused Prowler that works similar to a longsword. When finishing the X combos, the Prowler will do a charge attack and then they will go flying. Landing this attack will level up the Beast mode. At level 1, the Prowler gets some resistance to knockback and wind pressure. Level 2 gives 15% affinity, and level 3 gets you into SP mode. While in Beast mode, the Prowler's attacks are given Mind's Eye, and they can even do a roar to share their buffs to other players in the same area. Pressing R will do a backflip. This move has a bit of iframes that can be extended with the Artful Dodger skill. This backflip can be done up to 3 times in a row. Doing the full X combo while at level 3 will have the Prowler go flying much further, so it's generally best to use the charge attack with A or mix it in different X and X plus A combos. The expedition to the New World has our A-list hunter bring along their one and only trusty Palico. While they are Lanians in the New World, we do not recruit any Palicos like we could in previous generations. The muscular chef used to be the Admiral's Palico back when, but after breaking his weapon, he decided that cooking may be a better means of helping the hunters. His canteen is called the Weapons and Cat House, and he serves food for everyone at Astera.
It is pretty hard to miss the muscular chef as he is much more beefed up than your typical feline and personality-wise is a bit of a musclehead. He's known for telling hunters to bulk up and get gains, saying that our hunters are scrawny. Like the Prayer Priestess, he has his own flair when it comes to cooking and even still uses his broken blade to cut meat. He wears an apron and has the First Fleet's banner as a bandana. He also makes an appearance in a Monster Hunter movie that probably shouldn't bring up. The Grimalkins are Ilanian that were introduced in Monster Hunter World. They resemble bipedal lynxes with tufted hair and come in a variety of colors. Like felines and anime lynx, they live in small communities. There are 4 main tribes known: the Bug Trappers of Ancient Forest, the Protectors of Wildspire Waste, the Troopers of the Coral Highlands, and the Plunderers of the Rotten Vale. Grimalkins are wary of strangers but are happy to help when befriended. They will even share their tools and will assist hunters if recruited during hunts by trapping monsters. Unity level will increase with a particular tribe when they are recruited. When adventuring, you can find where a particular tribe is by finding their doodles. Their vines can also trap large monsters that are not elder dragons. Also introduced in Monster Hunter World, the Gachalaka are Ilanian that are very similar to the Shakalaka. They can be found in the Ancient Forest, Wildspire Waste, Coral Highlands, Otter's Recess, and the Caverns of El Dorado. Unlike the Grimalkins, these individuals are very hostile and will attack the hunter when spotted. Taking on the Ilanian researcher's quest will allow the hunter to gain benefits from the Gachalaka tribes such as shortcuts, tail riders, and the Palico gadget Molotov Cocktail. And just like the Shakalaka of the Old World, tribes are led by a much larger and stronger individual. For the Gachalaka, it is the Gachalaka chief. Depending on the mask color, the Gachalaka will have different status ailments. They can range from blue to yellow to purple. The ones at the Caverns of El Dorado wear golden masks. The chief wears a big red mask with long white mustaches and a chandelier on top as a makeshift crown, and he wields a broken steering wheel as a weapon. Not all Gachalaka are willing to help the hunter, but the ones that do will aid the hunter with trapping and then pelting large monsters with bombs. The Trail Raider Safari is a passive loot generator feature that can be done at Astera or the research base. Here the hunter can send out a team of Lanians to embark on a locale. Unity level with the Trail Raider, the locale, obstacles, and the Safari team proficiency will impact the results of the Safari. Monster Trail Raiders are souped up regular monsters that will fight alongside the hunter. They cannot travel to camps, but with a high enough Unity level, the Palico will do a special attack with the Monster Trail Raider. When an Elder Dragon is present, Monster Trail Raiders cannot be found and it is possible for stronger monsters to kill them. While Palicos can still get new weapons and armor at the smithy, their skills and support moves were replaced by Palico gadgets. When equipped, the gadget proficiency will level up alongside the Palicos level. By doing quests for the different tribes, new gadgets will be unlocked. Having a high enough proficiency with a gadget will allow the hunter to signal the Palico to use it on command. While there is no limit on using the gadget, using it multiple times will have the signal's command get delayed. World introduced a category of endemic life that can help the hunter when interacted with.
Towards the top of the coral highlands, there are wedge beetles that can help the hunters swing around in style. The dung and bomb beetles are small insects that roll around either dung or explosive stones. These two drop slinger ammo when interacted with. The toads, on the other hand, do a small AoE attack and depending on their type will do different effects. Paratoads release a paralyzing gas when kicked. Sleep toads put monsters to sleep. And natural toads deal a strong explosion that stagger monsters that come into contact with the gel. While useful, these toads can also affect hunters as well as monsters. There's also wasps that float about and give free health recovery when interacted with. And of course, we can't forget the fashionable flashfly. The boa boa are a new lineage introduced in Iceborne. They have a similar look to the Gajalaka but have a bulkier and much more fluffier frame. They wear imitation popo heads as masks, with the tusk tips painted to correspond to the status ailment they can inflict. They are known for hunting popo for food, but the boa boa also have great respect for them. Not only do they imitate the popo's looks, but they also travel in herds like one. Young boa boa undergo a rite of passage that requires them to hunt and slay a Beotodus. Ones that survive the ordeal are seen as heroes when they return to the tribe. While a stat present in Stock World, hunters can level up their unity level with a certain lineage tribe whenever they are asked to join up on a quest or investigation. World had a max of level 5 with Iceborne doubling that to 10. Extra levels would increase the amount of HP the tribe raiders would have, and anything above 5 is just an extra bonus. Power swapping is a feature available when in a lineage tribe home base. This happens when a unity level has increased to level 6 with a particular tribe. While at the home base, the hunter is given a chance to trade with 3 potential buyers. Each buyer has a specific preference, and giving them items that they desire will yield better rewards and unity with the tribe. 3 trades in total is allowed in one quest/investigation outing. Level 7 unity grants the ability for downed raiders to drop an item. Level 8 will increase the likelihood of raiders using their skills, and level 9 will have the downed raider get replaced shortly afterwards by a new ally. A small side note, a quick way of leveling up unity is by using the wide range skill to heal the raider that joins you. Then you quickly leave to another locale and come back to repeat the process. Power swapping will also increase unity by a fair amount if you do all 3 trades. The Grand Meowster Chef is an elderly feline that was formerly a part of the First Fleet. She was even the mentor of the Muscular Chef and returned to work at Celiana's canteen. Given the colder temperatures of Celiana, she wears a heavy coat alongside a scarf and a pair of shoes. Celiana is also home to many Palicos that help out, and you can see a good handful hard at work preparing food alongside the Grand Master Chef. When eating at the guild hall, there are even Palicos that bring the hunter food. As a side note, the hunter can enjoy the hot springs and a sauna with their Palico. It's quite cute. The Steamworks is a minigame introduced in Iceborne that can provide a good means of getting a variety of items for upgrading armor. Hopefully also maybe some good decorations and recovery items. During the minigame, you can see Palicos helping with the Steamworks and they will react to how well the Steamworks is doing. The Kahoot is a popular pet companion introduced in Monster and Rise. They are a small owl-like creature that are very affectionate and very clever avians. When going on a hunt alongside a hunter, they fly off and scout the area. This is how the hunter can see where the monsters are positioned alongside collectible items on the map. They also act as SOS flares from World/Iceborne and allow people from the World Wide Web to help join your quest. In the buddy area of Kamura Village, there is a Kahoot nest where the hunter can interact with to collect items that the Kahoots have collected. Kahoots can even take pictures for the hunter and can be interacted with for feeding or changing out their outfit. There are several different outfits that can be unlocked as the hunter continues their journey, but since this is a modern game, there are also paid DLC costumes, which I don't have. It is also possible to rename one's Kahoot. Monster and Rise also introduced a new buddy companion, the Palamute. Palamutes are fanged beasts introduced in Rise that are large canines that come in many different forms like Palicos. They are very intelligent and are capable of using different types of weaponry and are even strong enough to carry a hunter on their back while running at top speed. Going through the action bar with the D-pad has two commands. Let me ride will let the hunter hitch a ride on a Palamute. This is also done by pressing and holding A with the weapon sheathed. While on the back of the Palamute, they can move around with the analog stick and press R/R2 to run. Pressing CL while moving will do a drift. Moving the analog stick during the drift will change where the Palamute will boost forward. While on the back of the Palamute, the hunter, alongside having better mobility, can jump by pressing ZR, climb vertical walls with ease, use items like potions, and sharpen the hunter's weapon and toss kunai. Pressing X will do a melee attack. This can be done up to 3 times. It's not a very strong attack, but this is a good method of cutting down the tall grass for spirit birds. Pressing B will dismount from the Palamute. This can also be done mid-air to allow the hunter to do an aerial attack. Like Palicos, Palamutes level up as they go on quests with the hunter, and have skills that can be equipped. Both Palamutes and Palicos have a limit to the amount of skills equipped called skill memory, and this limit can be increased by leveling up and by talking with the buddy expert. Palamutes can be equipped with special gear and scrolls to give them extra effects and abilities. The number of Palico classes were reduced to 5, and they include the Healer, Assist, Fight, Bombardier, and Gatherer. When scouting a Palico, the first and last support move will always be guaranteed based on the type, with the 3 middle being totally random. Both Palicos and Palamutes can partake in the mercenaries and the Argosy. There is no benefit from using one type of buddy over the other. Using the wait command, the hunter can interact with both the Palamute and Palico.
Endemic life had a bit of a higher focus in Rise, having these animals act as extra items that can be a big help while hunting. Spare birds are a flying buff that the hunter auto-collects while moving around any particular map. Depending on the petal lace the hunter is equipped, the maximum amount of bonuses differ and these buffs last until the end of the quest. The feline chief Kogarashi is the original creator of the Meowcenaries and the former Palico of Elder Fusion. Despite this, he is still a very capable and upstanding Palico that is not dulled in his many years of duty. He is a calm and stoic Palico that many other Palico look up to and obey without question. He wears a full cloth mask that covers his face and uses a kite to fly around with ease. Elder Fusion also has a Palamute at his side, and they are called Humura the Loyal. There's not really much point in talking to them or Goka the Trusty. Near the ironworks there is Zenshi the Doctor, who is usually sleeping, Kajika the Fishmonger, who has their stand in front of the hunter's home, Buddy Smitty Kisaki, who can make equipment for the Palico and Palamute. Sometimes you may see Akari the Sailor passing by. Senri the Mailman handles the courier's duty, and there's Kotori the Trader, who is a companion to Rodin. In this same area is the Buddy Expert Cherubi, and the one painting is Chino the Trader. In the hunter's home, there is Fukarashi the Informant. They are a rumor mill and will tell the hunter juicy details regarding the villagers of Kimura. Your usual housekeeper also resides here. Both Shiratama and Odemai, the chefs, work with Yomogi the chef, and, going into the guild, we will see Badam and Tush, who play drums to the rhythm of Minoto's song. Odemai the chef handles the food in the guild hall alongside a couple of unnamed felines working on the dangle behind the counter and in the middle of the seats. Next to Minoto is Maido the merchant. And finally, Sirike the trader is found at the trading grounds, and talking to them changes the properties while trading there. There are also two separate felines operating the Tetradon deck. Sunbreak added some more customization for Palicos. Talking to the buddy agent Nagi, the hunter is able to swap out support moves that have been unlocked. Note that the only moves that can be swapped out are the middle three. There's also the introduction of Eureka Corn. This special item expands the memory slots to a max of 8. When the hunter makes it to Elgato Outpost, during MR1 they are able to get requests to get new secret support moves. While the moves say support in the name, these moves can be taught to any Palicos once unlocked. There is a Buddy Smitty that is found next to Mineo called Biss. The felines found around the ship are Tartar, Colin, and Zeretta. The watering feline in armor is called Suppi, and they can be seen interacting with Oboro, the merchant, and Chite, the questgiver. Sue, the researcher, is found in the meeting area, usually seen working on construction. Asuki is in charge of the canteen at El Gato, and apparently our housekeeper, who's different because they have a suit on, is in love with them. And finally, there's a couple of felines seen in the background that are seen driven a steam train that goes around El Gato. Sunbreak added the ability to not only hunt with a feline and a palamute, but another human/Bavarian. There's a whole selection of follower quests that the hunter can take on, and once they have done enough with a particular character, they can take a follower of choice with them on a wide variety of MR quests. So I had written this script way before any Monster Hunter Wilds trailer dropped or even info about it, but now that we do, we have a bit of information on what is essentially replacing the palamute, the secret. At least I believe it's pronounced that way. The secret is a bipedal bird wyvern that could glide, climb, and run on the many hazardous terrains that hunters will traverse in the upcoming game. I would have more info on this next generation Monster Hunter game, but since I prefer to research it once a G-Rank expansion or equivalent comes out before I delve into the details, I'm just going to leave that to the people who know more than me to write or talk about everything Wilds before I do. Buddy companions have always been a good way of having a pseudo manner of having a multiplayer setting for when the hunter is going on their own. The early games had a simple starting point when it came to having a feline companion help deal damage and sometimes take aggro. Every game since then has had their own manner of slightly tweaking this mechanic, adding on things like dances and try in 3U, and even allowing us to play as a Palico in Gen and Gen U. I personally would think it would be great if the playable Palico returns or even a revamp of the class by incorporating the palamute into the mix would be fun for the next game. The new follower system is a pretty great way for newer hunters to experience hunting with others when they don't have the opportunity to play online, for whatever reason. Hunting companions/helpers as a whole are something that not all hunters are going to use. As a matter of fact, I know many hunters that are exclusively lone wolves. They prefer to take down monsters on their own or only with the help of another player. And that's completely fine. The whole idea of making and customizing your character also extends to the companions. They are an extra layer of customization that allows you to essentially make a miniature hunter that will be at your side or at the village, keeping the housekeeper company. And that's it. Okay, I'm done. Bye. The script and reading took a couple years to get finished.